Can you take a joke? Can we take a joke? Here are the hosts of Good Morning Britain discussing that Waitrose matter.
Was it really offensive, or was it clearly a joke and vegans can't laugh at themselves?
It's the context of the communication. If you are a person who is in a position of power and editorial control, then it's massively inappropriate.
I mean, is the person at Waitrose magazine in a position of editorial control? I suppose that is literally true. He's the editor of Waitrose Food magazine. Now, my sympathies would broadly lie with vegetarians and vegans in that I think that is a nice way to eat. Waitrose is a supermarket, and, you know, a good one. Waitrose magazine is obviously a tool for commerce. Good Morning Britain is a table on which adverts are placed. Clunk! The more controversy it causes, the margins for what they can charge for adverts probably goes up. Regardless, here is the correspondence. Hi Celine, thanks for this. How about a series on killing vegans one by one? Ways to trap them, how to interrogate them properly. This is a reference to a joke by Bill Hicks, in which Bill Hicks proposed a game show called Let's Trap and Kill Billy Ray Cyrus.
It's fairly self-explanatory. Each week we let the hounds of hell loose. We chase that jarhead, no talent, cracker idiot all over the globe. Till I finally catch that fruity little ponytail of his, pull him to his knees, put a shotgun in his mouth. Then we'll be back in '94 with Let's Hunt and Kill Michael Bolton.
Which I suppose is funnier because the image of Billy Ray Cyrus is maybe funnier than a vegan, and Billy Ray Cyrus doesn't contain so much cultural baggage, though he has probably a bit of that redneck hick stuff still wrapped up in his mullet, don't he? But vegans, I suppose, infers a kind of a challenge to the mainstream agricultural dietary modality, doesn't it? Oh, you're a vegan, are you? In a sense, we're talking about censorship and our ability to offend and take offence. Should people in positions of power abuse people with less power? Obviously no. The answer is a resounding no. But is the journalist in a position of not really having power? I mean, like, veganism is not a disability, is it? Veganism, although maybe you sometimes feel a bit tired. You know, like, vegan isn't a minority, it's just a kind of a diet and possibly an ideology if you want to go that way with it, and probably better for the world in some ways, although even that is debated and disputed. So this joke, expose the hypocrisy, force feed the meat, make the meat steak and drink red wine. He kind of is mucking around, isn't he, Sitwell? She says she was shocked by Sitwell's attitude towards vegans, and he's the editor, he's representing Waitrose, and he's talking about killing vegans one by one. Waitrose said, even though this was a private email, William's gone too far, and his words are extremely inappropriate, insensitive, and absolutely do not represent our views. Do you know how they would have sacked him, though? They would have gone like, listen, it's got to be out of hand for this, we're getting some negative heat, heads have got to roll, it's your head. As a matter of fact, ironically, it's going to be a carnivorous and brutal thing, not the vegan execution that we would have preferred to give you because you've been so cynical about it. You know, humour, comedy, taking jokes, we need it. The more offensive a subject is, the more important it is to make jokes about it. That's my perspective as a comedian. If someone makes jokes about taboo subjects and you're offended, that is the reason that you're making the joke, whether it's a sort of a sensitive subject such as terrorism, abuse. These are the areas that require our common humanity. Linguistic analysis on the function of laughter shows that laughter is actually a type of breathing. Breath is life, life is breath, laughter is a type of breathing, it's an exhalation, it's a relief, we need it. Now, a bad joke, a joke that's not funny, you know, subjective, isn't it? Some people love Bill Hicks, some people like Richard Pryor, some people like Roy Chubby Brown, some people like Buster Keaton. Humour is a personal thing. But what's being referenced through comedy is the idea that there's this solemn strata of materialistic, rationalistic communication, and we're all agreeing, you know, here's a legal letter, yes, here's a parking fine. But we can equally step outside that and go, why are we communicating through legal letters? What is this parking fine? Why can't I just leave my car where I want? What do you mean red traffic light? Who's behind these traffic lights? I'll go where I want. I'll do what I like. Comedy is a reference to a sublime, or at least separate, realm of potentialities. This is comedy. This is comedy. The idea that, well, really, we're doing this. You know, it's stepping out from behind the curtain. The jester is there to challenge the powerful. Our man there, me, if I was in charge of sacking people at Waitrose magazine, knowing that my job is primarily to generate money for Waitrose, I don't know that I would have sacked that person. Whenever you find yourself engaged in a fake, phony storm of controversy, it's always good to note that the context within which it takes is ultimately one of capitalist consumerism, and there'll never be a clearer example of this. This is, you know, being discussed on commercial television, is a commercial enterprise talking about sort of diet. Is any of it real? In a way, none of it is real. None of it is real. We are living in a spectacle. Perhaps that's what's most offensive. Should people be nice to one another? Of course they should. Should people be able to take a joke? Of course they should. Do we have a society that enables us to access our better selves? Not really, no. We live primarily in an illusion that designates us as consumers above all else. Citizens secondarily, spiritual beings having a real and authentic experience, barely on the radar. So ultimately, as you know deep down, none of this matters. That's some true news.